to this day. I give it up for the woman.
Welcome to this special edition of Jamaica Magazine as we join the world in celebrating International Women's Day. Up first, we hear from a powerful Jamaican woman, Pat Francis, as she lays out the plans to modernize the public sector. Then later, an event at which many women will be showcasing their best creations. We're looking ahead to the Jamaica Investment Forum 2015. Hi, I'm Theodore Henry, armored in today's theme color and ready to empower you, our woman.
The Mapping Jamaica's Diaspora Project, building a database on the human, financial and technological resources of Jamaicans abroad, helping government to connect with Jamaicans in the diaspora for mutual development. Jamaicans living overseas are encouraged to sign up now. Spread the word to family and friends abroad. To take the survey, visit mapjadiaspora.iom.int. Information shared will be kept strictly confidential. Let's work together for our mutual growth and prosperity.
Chair of Jamaica's Public Sector Transformation and Modernization Committee, Pat Francis, is this week's guest on Issues and Answers. She's leading the team that will implement policies to boost productivity and efficiency in the public sector, a strategic goal that's already reaping success. Let's hear from her.
Thanks for joining us for another edition of Issues and Answers. I'm Ian Boyne. Today we talk about the Public Sector Transformation and Modernization Program, an important aspect of the Economic Reform Program. The chair of the PSTM, Patricia Francis, is here with us, and she will shed light on this very important program. We thank you so much for your company. Mrs. Francis, good to have you on Issues and Answers.
Thank you very much, Ian. Good to be here.
Great. The significance of this program, let's start with that. First, what is it? What exactly is being targeted under the Public Sector Transformation and Modernization Program, and why is it important?
Well, Ian, I think generally speaking, the public at large, if you hear criticism of government, it's about how government is inefficient, how government services is below par. Many of these criticisms are correct, many of them are not. But I think that generally speaking, the intersection of government, business, government, private sector, government, the public at large, this is what the Public Sector Transformation Program is about. How can we change those dynamics to make Jamaica a more competitive environment, one where there is an ease of doing business, one where people don't feel that it's a hurdle to actually do business with government. So this is what it's about. It's precisely what it says, transformation and modernization. So it's how do we change the way government works in order to make it receptive to business and the public at large.
Usually when people hear about the transformation program, they think redundancy, they think cutting the public sector. But the program is not that at all. It's a more systemic, bringing about a systemic change.
And I think the heart of what we're trying to do is to really look at all of the business processes. Now, if it means that there needs to be a amalgamation of various processes,
yes,
then perhaps you would have some redundancies. Yes. But that's not what the focus is. The focus is in looking at the services. What's the most efficient and effective way of delivering those services? I would think that generally speaking, based on what I've seen so far, the numbers that about cutting,
Yes,
I'm not seeing the focus on that at all.
No, that's not
and furthermore, what we're actually seeing is that we may have to redeploy people in other areas, because where we're going to have amalgamation of services, that doesn't mean that we're going to need less people. It just means that people will have to do things differently than they've done them before.
Properly deployed. Are there particular areas, are there some concrete things, Mrs. Francis, that the Public Sector Transformation and Modernization program is working on now? Are there specific things that we can look to see in the next few months?
Okay. We have an overall 5-year program which is focused on a number of different areas. The first one is business facilitation and of course the kind of customer service that we're talking about. The second area is about integrated ICT services, because generally speaking, government is not joined up in terms of the information and communication technology. They're not joined up. We have different databases in different sections of government, and they don't speak to each other. So part of what we want to do in this general business of trying to make things easier is to have one government agency and department being able to talk to each other just through the information and communication technology. Public sector and human resource reform, which is a very important other element to that. And of course, government service is about people. It's about how we manage our human resources. So that's another big section. Resource management and accountability. Where are government assets? Who is accountable for what? Who is going to deliver what, etc., etc. That's another big part. And then administrative efficiency. So those are the big headlines under which all things fall. Now, we have within that an 18-month program of implementation where we have priority projects within those 5 areas. And that 18-month program is looking at the ease of doing business, which everybody speaks about. It's about shared corporate services, which is part of looking at the efficiency of government. So how do we do certain kinds of things, legal services, for example. One of the big bottlenecks that we find in government is getting responses from government to certain questions that we pose to them. And what happens in that regard is that government will have to give legal advice from internally, and then it goes to the Attorney General's department, then it has to come back. So
if you could centralize
we're looking at how we're going to services and make it more efficient. Greater efficiencies. So it's things like that that we're looking at.
We'll take a break at this point. We're looking at public sector transformation, a very important area, and it's integral to the economic reform program. The chair of the Public Sector Transformation and Modernization Program, Patricia Francis, is here with us. We'll take a break, but we'll be right back.
Employers, tired of waiting in long lines at the tax office? Wait no further. Government is making it easier for you to pay taxes. As of January 1, 2015, file your employer's annual returns online. No lines, no hassle. Tax Administration Jamaica TAJ will be implementing the mandatory electronic filing of all employers' annual returns. So get with the program and save time and energy. For more information, call 1-888-TAX-HELP. That's 1-888-829-4357 or visit jamaicatax.gov.jm.
You want to know about the public sector and about the plans to make the public sector more efficient. You have to deal with government, you have to deal with government services, and you want that process to be as hassle-free as possible. Well, the chair of the Public Sector Transformation and Modernization Program, Mrs. Patricia Francis, is here with us, and she's telling us some of the kinds of things that the program intends to do to make your life easier. And you were going through a list, Mrs. Francis.
Yes. So we have for this 18-month, which is what we're going to deliver in 18 months.
Yes.
We mentioned ease of doing business. We talked about shared corporate services, human resource modernization, which is about reform of the way human resources within the public sector is dealt with and deployed. And the final one, there are some other things about asset management, etc., that we're going to be looking at. But if I can go perhaps to the looking at the ease of doing business.
Yes, a very critical area.
A big element of it is about the development approval process. And here we're talking about deploying a system called Amanda, right throughout all of the local government and as well as the agencies that are employed in the development approval process. So you put in your request for development approval. It will go on this Amanda platform. You will be able, as a customer, to see where your approval is in the process electronically. So it'll be complete transparency, and you'll be able to see, well, it's now at the fire department, or it's at the water, or so and so is looking at it at this point in time. Within that context, also there is the government electrical inspection. This is one of the big bottlenecks between when I have my electrical installation ready, and we have very few government inspectors. So we're trying to get that process mobilized so that it can transform very quickly. So these are some of the things that are going to be delivered within the 18-month period that we're talking about. Then if we talk about some other elements in the doing business, establishing a forensic lab.
Yes.
We see the bottlenecks in court, and we also see the problems with the crime scenes. I mean, we all watch CSI on TV, and we wonder why do we handle things a lot differently? Well, we are creating this forensic institute, and we are hoping that with this new entity that is being put in place, that the level of service will largely improve, and the police will have much better guidance in the way that they manage crime scenes, etc. The traffic ticketing system. This was a favorite of the ministers. They wanted to make sure that this was done, because currently it's not joined up with when I want to go and renew my license. But it will now be joined up to when I go to get my driver's license renewed. If I have outstanding tickets, then we will have to make sure that we pay up our tickets before we actually get our renewal of our driver's license. So it's a way of, again, bringing transparency into the system and joining up the different elements of what government does in terms of enforcement. And I think finally there's just going to be a strategic review of the Ministry of Finance and Planning, because the truth is that many people see bottlenecks within the Ministry of Finance and Planning themselves. So as an element of of this doing business, we're going to look at what is it within the Ministry of Finance and Planning that needs change? What are the things that we need to do differently? And we're going to start looking at that very quickly, and I hope that out of that will come something very good for the public at large in terms of how we interact with the Ministry of Finance and Planning.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Francis. Patricia Francis, who chairs the Public Sector Transformation and Modernization Program, telling us of the interesting things taking place under the program and why this program is so important to the government's economic reform program. We thank you for staying tuned with this program, Issues and Answers. Next week, we'll be back. Until then, Ian Boyne wishing you a pleasant day.
When using an automated banking machine ABM, ensure the machine is in a location you are comfortable with, and when you enter, be sure to close the door. Examine the machine before you insert your debit card, and never enter your card if the machine has a suspicious device attached to it. More important, don't allow strangers to assist you in conducting a transaction. And remember, treat your debit card like cash. Keep it in a safe place.
A large percentage of the micro, small and medium enterprise sector is comprised of women. Government is working with that business sector to increase job creation and economic growth. An opportunity is coming up soon for women to access support to excel in this field of business.
Captivating warmth that beckons the holiday maker. Verdant landscapes providing the perfect habitat for natural elements. And a vibrant people, home to reggae music and the world's greatest sprinters. But Jamaica's potential far exceeds the obvious.
It is a sophisticated business environment ready for business.
And to market that aspect of Brand Jamaica,
it gives me great pleasure to welcome you to the launch of the Jamaica Investment Forum for 2015.
Let's do business.
The Jamaica Investment Forum JIF 2015 is Jamaica's international investment and business conference which will provide investors with detailed information on business opportunities in the country. JIF, which is being organized by Jamaica Promotions Jampro, will run from March 10 through 12 at the Montego Bay Convention Center in St. James,
which will bring together about 150 global C-suite investors from identified growth sectors of the Jamaican economy, including tourism, logistics, manufacturing, business process outsourcing, agribusiness, and international financial services. We will immerse these international investors in a forum that pairs carefully constructed plenary and breakout sessions with ample opportunity for networking and experiencing the Jamaican business proposition.
Investors from as far as Turkey, Dubai, and South Africa have already booked their spots for the investment forum. JIF was first held in 2012 and 3 years later, one headline sponsor, the Inter-American Development Bank IDB, thinks the Jamaican economy has improved, making the business climate more attractive to investors.
What's different in 2015 is the enabling macroeconomic environment, which I think everybody would realize this government has come a long way in stabilizing the macroeconomic situation. There's still a long way to go, but I think that has set Jamaica on a very different path.
In October 2014, the World Bank's Ease of Doing Business report showed that Jamaica was ranked 58 among 189 worldwide economies. And later in December 2014, the influential Forbes magazine ranked Jamaica as the best country in the Caribbean to do business and the third in Latin America and the Caribbean. Plus, business and consumer confidence have increased. These were all possible through structural changes implemented under Jamaica's economic reform program. The 2012 staging of JIF was more than just a talk shop.
I remember engaging in conversation with the Sutherland Global investors at the forum in 2012 to discuss the possibilities of them setting up the operations in Jamaica. Out of that meeting, Sutherland Global made the decision to locate its global delivery center at the University of the West Indies Mona campus by July of that year.
The center was officially opened in December 2013, and by all indications, stakeholders are looking to seal more business deals at this year's hosting of the Jamaica Investment Forum. For those who might be concerned about the returns, just ask the Chief Executive Officer of Digicel Jamaica.
We have built a global business out of here. We're founded out of here. We feel Jamaican. Literally, we're a $3 billion US company per annum now in 32 different markets with our roots firmly here in Jamaica. If there are direct foreign investors, we're more than happy to talk to them. We're more than happy, to sell brand Jamaica, to convince people this is a place to do business. I mean, because it's a great place to do business.
Jamaica is well and truly open for business to the global community. We're well and truly open for local investment. I am therefore hoping for more great investments in 2015. I'm looking forward therefore to a successful Jamaica Investment Forum 2015 between the 10th and the 12th of March.
Visit Jamaica Investment Forum/2015 for more information.
Each time you're not paying full attention to the road environment, the greater your chances of getting in a crash like that. Plan routes to avoid focusing on GPS systems, prevent children from roaming in motor vehicles, turn down the volume of car stereo systems, pull off the roadway if you have to use mobile devices, do not read, watch television or eat while driving, avoid multitasking, and keep conversations with other passengers to a minimum. Whether you walk, ride or drive, avoid potentially fatal distractions.
We know lots of men smoke, but whether it's your preference or not, the fact is there are women who also smoke. Either way, most women will know a relative or friend who likes to light up. To help keep them and yourselves on the right side of the law, please inform yourselves of the recently passed laws regarding marijuana. Watch this.
In Jamaica, this administration has decided to move forward in a measured and deliberate way towards ganja law reform.
It began with Parliament passing the Criminal Records Rehabilitation of Offenders Amendment Act.
That act has removed the attachment of a criminal record for possession of small quantities or smoking ganja.
Then, on February 6 and 24, both houses of Parliament passed the Dangerous Drugs Amendment Act 2015.
It begins to correct decades of criminalizing tens of thousands of Jamaicans, mostly poor young black males, for possession of a spliff.
In addition, it will reduce the caseload burden on the resident magistrates' courts.
This progressive legislation also begins to correct the victimization of our Rastafarian brethren, which started in colonial times and continued after independence.
The bill amends the definition of ganja so as to exclude hemp.
It makes the possession of 2 ounces or less of ganja a ticketable infraction and does not result in a criminal record.
The bill makes smoking ganja in public places a ticketable infraction.
It permits the cultivation of 5 or less ganja plants on any premises, which will be regarded as being for medical or therapeutic use of the leaves or for horticultural purposes.
It permits the possession of ganja for religious purposes as a sacrament in adherence to the Rastafarian faith.
It empowers the minister responsible for justice, A, to authorize a person, group of persons, or organization adherent to the Rastafarian faith to cultivate ganja on designated land to be used for religious purposes.
And it also allows the minister, on application, to declare an event, an exempt event, where he is satisfied that it is promoted or sponsored by a person, group of persons, or organization adherent to the Rastafarian faith and is primarily for the purpose of the celebration or observance of the Rastafarian faith.
There's a set of amendments related to medical and therapeutic purposes.
The bill permits the use of ganja for medicinal or therapeutic purposes. It permits persons who are suffering from cancer or other serious chronic illness to import ganja or ganja products where their use is recommended by a registered medical practitioner.
Another amendment permits persons visiting Jamaica who provide satisfactory evidence that their use of ganja for medical or therapeutic purposes has been prescribed by a medical practitioner in the jurisdiction where they are ordinarily resident to purchase permits authorizing them to purchase and possess up to 2 ounces of ganja while in Jamaica, subject to conditions, including the payment of a prescribed fee.
And this, Mr. President, will facilitate persons who are cannabis patients overseas coming to Jamaica and being able to use medical marijuana in Jamaica, which will be part of the thrust towards a health and wellness tourism product and can derive, I think, significant benefits for the country.
Permits the use of ganja for scientific research conducted by an accredited tertiary institution or research institution otherwise approved by the Scientific Research Council.
The bill provides for the establishment of a new regulatory body, the Cannabis Licensing Authority.
Parents, make sure the children get immunized. Hear this! Immunization, it is a must. This is not a joke thing, this you can trust. It is required by law for entry to nursery, to daycare and to schools. Listen up, it is necessary to prevent diseases such as the measles, the poliomyelitis, the lockjaw and the whooping cough. Immunize your kids, keep them healthy, keep them strong. Prevent deadly diseases such as mumps, rubella and diphtheria. Immunize your child today. Immunization, a key to good health.
A message from the Ministry of Health and PAHO.
International Women's Day represents an opportunity to celebrate the achievements of women while calling for greater equality. Make It Happen is the 2015 theme, a call for effective action for advancing and recognizing women. Each year, International Women's Day is celebrated on March 8. Thousands of events occur to mark the economic, political, and social achievements of women. Organizations, governments, charities, educational institutions, women's groups, corporations, and the media all celebrate the day. I'm celebrating that Jamaica is among the leading countries for securing the rights of its women. But while legislation is in place to ensure the protection of all, we as individuals must ensure that our women and girls are respected. Let's not judge based on gender. Let's not ill-treat our girls. Let's protect them from harm, and let's instill in our girls the power to achieve their ambitions. Make it happen. For more on how to achieve greater equality for women or details on International Women's Day, call or email the Bureau of Gender Affairs.